Hi guys, this is Catalin, and I wanted to make a quick video to discuss about something I think is rather important. So a lot of the people that I speak with, and there's this kind of like overarching thing now of people talking about that we have these big problems from climate change to education, health, and all these other things. And there seems to be a feeling that we don't have solutions to any of these problems, right? So I just had a thought and I drew it out, and this is the first time I'm doing this, like kind of whiteboarding something out and explaining it. So bear with me, and hopefully it's gonna make sense and it's gonna be useful. But I'm gonna share with you a perspective I have and an idea I have of why I think having the solutions is not that's not the problem we're having. I actually believe we do have the solutions. But there's a different problem that comes to play. So it's much more of a business marketing problem than an invention problem. So a story that can illustrate this very well is in 1973, Xerox came up with something they called the graphic user interface. And in Steve Jobs' biography, if you haven't read it, I think it's a pretty good book. They describe how Xerox and how Steve Jobs and the team went to their research center in Menlo Park and found this thing called the graphic user interface, which was the first time in which you had a personal computer, and you can take the mouse and you can interact with the computer directly. You didn't need to write stuff and code. Until that point, you had to type code out in order to interact with the computer. And now you could just interact with it by moving, right? So that's called the graphic user interface, to the best of my technical knowledge. So what Xerox did is they came up with an invention, which was this graphic user interface, but it wasn't used then. So what Steve Jobs did quite successfully, and this is public knowledge, is they took that, they literally stole the graphic user interface from Xerox, and they created the Mac that they created at that point, and then they built upon it, and they were very, very successful. And now Apple is a $1 trillion company as far as a couple of weeks ago, as I know. Might be lower because of the coronavirus situation. So it's not exactly finding the solution that's the problem, right? So we see, let's say from a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being commodity and 0 meaning nothing. On the left side, we have the inventor, right? So we have the person that comes up with something from 0 to 1. And then from 1 to, let's say, 5-ish or 6-ish or whatever, you have the entrepreneur, right? And what they focus on, so these people come up with a solution. What the entrepreneur does is they match that solution with a market need, and they get it to the market, right? So it's a go-to-market strategy that's important there. And then after that, let's say from 6 to 10, you have the manager, which basically takes it, optimizes it, makes it effective, scales it, gets the cost down, increases performance, and all these other things. And this is, again, kind of how I think about it. It's not exactly scientific literature. So Xerox was there. Right? They came up with an invention, they came up with a solution to a problem, but they didn't have the go-to-market strategy. That's what Steve Jobs did. They took it and they developed the go-to-market strategy to actually bring it to the market. Now, here's some other elements. So on the left side, let's say we have no problem whatsoever, right? We have no motivation, we have no willingness to pay WTP, they're not willing to pay money. They're laggards, so they adapt things very late, and they have no domain expertise. They need things that are simple. On the right side, I'm not sure if you can see this, I'll film this afterwards anyways. On the right side, you have big problems, high motivation, high willingness to pay, early adapters, and they can deal with complexity because they have domain expertise, right? So when they first start selling computers, they sold it to educational, to universities, and to people that were technical, because you need to be technical to deal with the computers. But the beauty of the go-to-market strategy of kind of like the optimizers and the managers is, in order for you to take something and have it be consumed by 1 million, 2 million, 5 million people, you need to have, you're not going to increase you might increase the motivation of people, but what you need to do, it seems, and what Steve Jobs did was they took the product and they decreased the friction of that product, right? So they made it simpler for you to run with an app and run with a computer. So they had more people be interested in each of those things, the more they were able to do that. This is obviously a natural cycle, because here you need a lot of R&D money to develop the product, which you need to reimburse and kind of like amortize in your business and your product, and then you kind of create more and more and more. So you can see this with Tesla, you can see this with Apple, you can see with all the companies. So the point I'm trying to share, because I'm not an expert on all these things, and this is just I think it's an idea I have. I think it's rather useful to see is I don't really think we have a problem with inventions. Where we have a problem is with the go-to-market strategies. When it comes to like the big issues of entrepreneurship, health, and climate change and all these other things, the go-to-market is what's missing. How do you match the existing solutions with the existing market conditions in a way that will work and customers will actually buy it, or will actually deliver on the promise? So that's it. Quick little video. Well, it's 6 minutes 23. It's not that quick. I hope it was useful. Just a story I thought was really interesting. And final thought: what takes people from right to left, it seems, well, my right to left, is the combination of decreasing the knowledge, the domain knowledge expertise that you need to operate that product. So Apple making their products being able to be used by anybody without any instructions or whatever. And also, it's a marketing and sales question as well. So those two seem to be very consistent across what creates success for mass market products in that sphere. So that's where marketing seems to come into play. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you soon.